Okay, this video is about Conquest by Islamic bathroom. Here we have the Camden New Journal of the 16th of May 2013 and an article called Condemned HS2 Flats Get New Kitchens. HS2 is High Speed 2, the new rail link from Birmingham to London, paid by public money, of course, and probably will be sold off for tuppence to rich people. It only serves the rich anyway. It's going to shave, as they say, just half an hour of the present journey, which is only 2 hours, and 2 or 2.5 hours, something like that. And going to cost a fortune, of course. So anyway, they're knocking down a lot of poor people's flats for it. And it says here, residents baffled as upgrade goes ahead in homes facing axe. And here we have new bathrooms and kitchens were being installed in a council estate. On the same day, HS2 bosses wrote to residents, confirming for the first time that their homes are to be demolished. Right, so basically that's rich people under the Better Homes scheme and Camden's Community Improvement Programme. Seeing their homes demolished and paying with taxpayers' money for this nonsense, which is only designed to put money into the pockets of Apollo builders and probably Camden Council, which I believe has recently given pay rises to its workers and certainly to its bosses. Having got this money from the government, that's us, taxpayers. They've set up the Community Improvement Programme, which involves knocking down people's homes, but first putting in a lot of unnecessary stuff that's going to be knocked down soon to give them pay rises and things like that. So it's basically to give them pay rises via the money they'll make from it or get from the government for doing it. Okay, so this is causing a lot of trouble to a lot of people. But the Islamic angle comes in when you have a look at the bathrooms, right? I went to see the bathrooms because it was proposed to the council want to put one in my flat. They want to put a kitchen and bathroom in my flat. First, they wrote to everyone telling them that they didn't have to have the new kitchen and bathrooms. And I went to see them, and I saw that the kitchen units were smaller. I mean, they looked better, but they were smaller, and I wanted my bigger units as much as I wanted any appearance. So I decided just to forego the bother of having a new kitchen put in, because apparently some people say they were taking up to 6 months to put these things in, even though they said they'd only take 2 or 3 weeks. I've been quoted anything from 1 to 3 weeks, and in fact, if you look them up and see what they say online regarding online conversations they have with people on their sites, some people say it took them 6 months to put a kitchen in, or a bathroom kitchen in, or whatever. Anyway, they want to put a bathroom and kitchen in my flat, and I declined it because I was allowed to. The kitchen, they sent everyone letters saying they could refuse them if they wanted to, and I did because I went to see them, and the bath is about 6 to 8 inches lower than my bath. It's really just like a paddling pool almost, and if you were in it, you would actually be bathing in about 6 or 8 inches of water. That's not hygienic. The reason is, I think, that they're Islamic bathrooms. I've heard of these Islamic bathrooms. Another council is putting them in across its borough, and now I think Camden is. Now, the reason Islamics have these smaller baths is because they don't bathe, they shower. So it's no loss to them. The toilet is also smaller, possibly because they prefer to squat over toilets rather than sit on them. And the basin is pretty much non-existent. It's so shallow that when I put my hands under it to test it, there was about ½ an inch of space left to wash them in. That's how shallow it is. There's almost no depth to it at all. So I think they're Islamic bathrooms because they obviously don't use basins. So, we don't matter, basically. Because you have to get the whole thing. You can't pick and choose. And Camden couldn't pick and choose, so it had to choose whole sets. So when it chose Islamic bathrooms, it took everything that came with them, including this basin. So we don't even get to wash our hands anymore. See, the thing is, when Islamics wash things, they wash everything over a big bowl. They wash themselves over a big bowl. They wash plates over a big bowl. Everything gets done in a big bowl. And that's what the bath is like, a big bowl. You know, so I want to keep my bath, my big European bath that I can lie back in and get warm in when it gets a bit chilly and as I'm washing myself, just lie back a minute and get nice and warm. You know, I want my big basin because I wash things in it. I'm poor, my washing machine broke, and I wash things in my basin and in my bath. I won't be able to do that so easily in a smaller bath. I can't do bigger items so easily in a smaller bath. They've all probably, you know, they get favourite treatment now being foreigners. You get preferential treatment. They've got all the jobs going up and down London. You have a look. Everywhere you go, they've got all the jobs in the shops. They've got all the jobs in the banks. They've got all the jobs everywhere. In the councils, everywhere you go. They've got all the jobs. And they're still complaining that they get discriminated against. They obviously won't be happy until they have every single thing. All the jobs going, and now it seems all the flats going, possibly up and down the country. The Better Homes scheme is being run out, has been for years and is going to be for years, across the country. Now, in this scheme, are we taxpayer funding Islamic bathrooms in every council flat up and down the country? We might be. If we are, then possibly the only way that you'll be able to get a council flat in future is if you go Muslim. People are already going Catholic in order to get their children into a good school. Maybe they will need to go Muslim in future just to house them. The reason being that in the future, Islamics will be able to say, I need a council flat because it satisfies my cultural needs, because of the hygiene requirements of my culture and my religion, and I should get extra points to get a council flat for that because it's harder to find these facilities in private housing, and they will get the extra points. Otherwise, they'll go to court claiming discrimination. This is obviously planned, you know, to force Islamicism onto us, to force Islam onto us, because the powers that be are allowing it. That means they're doing it. They chose the Islamic bathrooms. Right. So anyway, what this means is that if you want to get extra points in future, you will have to say, I'm a Muslim too. Otherwise, you won't get a council flat. And all up and down the country, there'll be a lot of council flats, and they're all lying empty, waiting for Muslims to come and move into them. And you'll have to go Muslim. Otherwise, maybe they'll even bring in other Muslims from outside saying we've got to fill up these empty council flats because it's wrong to just waste them and have them standing there. If nobody will go Muslim, or if there's if no one will go Muslim and there are any left over, they might still say it's a shame to waste these facilities. Let's bring Muslims in, because you know they do what they like. At any rate, if a Muslim wants a council flat in future, they'll get preferential treatment because they'll be able to get more points on the points scheme because they have because they're Islamic and the facilities are Islamic, and Europeans basically. Can find European facilities in private housing, which is much more run down and shoddy and less secure than council housing, and they'll have to take that in future. You know, and otherwise just take the leftovers, because you get a choice when you if there are choices going, you're allowed to see the council flats, and the person with the most points gets whichever one they want. And you will always have the fewer points than the Muslims, so you will always get whatever's the leftovers are, and they will have the pick of whatever they want because they've got more points because they're Islamic, and the facilities are Islamic, and they'll say that the facilities are meant for them, and if they don't get them, it's a case of discrimination. Never mind the fact that you have the same need of a home, and you've actually got the right to it because it's your country. That will be blown out of the water. You'll get done for racism for even saying that. But they can make racial claims. The idea is, again, to just batter us with the idea that other peoples can make racial claims and we can't. If we do, we're racist, and they can get all our council housing up and down the country just by fixing it that way at our public expense. I think we need to know whether or not these Islamic bathrooms, because I think that's what they are being rolled out up and down the country, because it's certainly happening in Camden. Here alone, we have 150 flats. Listen to this. The major works to 3 blocks with more than 150 flats are being funded through the sale of publicly owned buildings. Those were council flats. Under the controversial Community Improvement Programme. So there you go. They're selling off council flats to get the money, which is public money, to spend on... oh, by the way, I think Apollo has a lot of private, including Islamic investors and owners. So they're coming in from outside, buying everything up, and then using the influence to do these dreadful things. And then here's a foreigner saying, is your house cold and damp? We're going to be living in the private sector in future, in cold and damp houses, thanking these foreigners for taking care of us as we go and beg them to help us with our cold and damp housing. Do you know that damp takes 17 years off your life? A baby raised in a damp house dies 17 years earlier. That's because of the sicknesses, the long illnesses it gives you. So there you go. Nice people, do you think? You better treat him like it, otherwise he won't help you. I've had aggressive, in fact, dare I say it, violent treatment from foreign solicitors just for walking through the door. I got out of there quick. That's one of my local solicitors. There are 2 local solicitors in my area I'm supposed to use, and they've both been unsatisfactory. So there you go. There was something else I was going to say if I could remember what it was. I'll put it in my description anyway, so check that. Oh yeah, my housing officer is an Islamic, and he's part of this. The council workers are either getting kickbacks in terms of bribes, private bribes for every kitchen and bathroom they put in, or they're well, they have got increased wages anyway in recent years, probably due to this kind of thing. They're raising money, as they call it, by selling off public housing, social housing, and then using that money to raise their wages, which they call helping people, because it's their job to help people. And they're not helping them, obviously. They're making them homeless and so on. But there you go. My own, this council at present, via my housing officer, is trying to throw out all my stuff, saying it's dirty, saying it's dirty and smelly. It's not. My cats go along there. It's not my fault. It gets dirty. This gets used in about 1 day. It's only been on a couple of days, but I have 3 cats and they sit up there. Everything else is perfectly clean. Might look a bit messy, but that's because I'm having to rearrange everything, because I'm supposed to pile everything up in the middle of the room for electrical works to take place around the walls. But it's still all clean. And the council are saying that it's all stinking and filthy. They have pictures they faked up with the camera where everything looks absolutely black, which it never was. Because they just didn't let any light in the camera. When you let very little light into the camera so that almost no light comes through, then what you get is a really dark picture, because there's no light being allowed in. And that's what they did with their camera. They made the aperture, as they call it, the hole, very, very tiny, and let almost no light through, and everything looks black. Everything looks black across the whole room, across all the flat. And it's never been anything but like this. Just perfectly ordinary. So they're saying that because they want to throw all my stuff out. The aim being to say my flat still smells. After they've said my flat still smells, they want to blame the kitchen and bathroom so they can throw it out and put in the new kitchen and bathroom. That's what they're doing to me, because I said I didn't want the kitchen and bathroom. They told everyone they could refuse the kitchen and bathroom, and I did. And as a result, this is what they're doing to me. Saying everything I have is dirty and stinking, taking me to court for it, trying to get permission to throw it all out. And then say the flat still smells. They don't want to throw out, they say everything has absorbed my odour, and they want to throw out my wood, but not their wood, no doors are mentioned. They want to throw out all my stuff. No mention of, they haven't said anything like, she's responsible for making the flat smell. Otherwise, they'd have to say their doors smell. Well, they are saying that. They're saying I've made my flat smell. But they're not saying that they want to throw out any wood of theirs, just mine. They're not saying they want to throw out any plastic. The window frames are plastic. They're not saying they want to throw those out. They're just saying they want to throw out my plastic. They're not saying they want to throw out the glass in their window panes, just the glass in my TV, for example. They're just blaming, and they're not saying they want to, they're just blaming anything that they can think of that, they want to, just to throw my stuff out. That was a written suggestion, a written idea they got from Agent Orange, another of their contractors, cleaners they are. So and they used that in court to apply to throw out all my property. When I pointed out to the court that they weren't going to throw out anything of theirs, the court said to have an environmental health inspector come around and say what of my property needs to be disposed of for hygiene reasons. And now they're trying to get rid of my couch here, which I sleep on most of the time anyway. And they're saying that it's stinking, and it's not. And they're saying that I think they're picking on it to try and get at me, because I managed to stop them from throwing out anything else, any plastic or wood or anything of mine, by saying that they would also have to throw out their plastic and so on. And as a result, they're picking on any soft furnishings. And so, they've picked on this one thing, which is the most expensive item I have of soft furnishing. And they say they want that this needs to be thrown out, my couch. So that's what they're willing to do to people. That's what they're willing to do to people. To just to put their stupid kitchen and bathroom in. So that's how determined they are to do this to people. Oh dear. I think people need to know up and down the country what's going on, because otherwise we may have such poor conditions in the future. Such terrible conditions. And we'll be paying for them with our taxes too. If we go to work, we'll be paying to house Islamics in all our flats. And maybe, you know what the left are like with their open door policy, which is apparently still largely going on. They might even bring them in at our expense. They're Islamifying the country, possibly. We need to know whether the Better Homes Project is actually the Decent Homes Program, or the Better Homes Program. We need to know, because it seems to go by both names. We need to know whether or not this has been done up and down the country. What you can do is look at normal baths that you can still find, that rich people can still buy for themselves, and measure them inside. I didn't actually measure it. I should have taken a measuring thing with me when I went to see Apollo's showroom, which is now closed. They've closed it now. I think possibly because of the videos I made and put online, using their name and saying what's going on. Measure inside the European bathroom. You'll see it's over a foot. It's about 14 inches, at least 14, 16 inches inside the bath. Whereas an Islamic bath is about 14 inches outside. So you get I think it might even be 18 inches inside in a European bath. It's really quite good and deep when you think about it, really. Whereas then measure inside the Islamic baths that they want to put. Go to the showroom of the Better Homes people and measure inside that bath. I think you'll find it's smaller. I mean, we need to find out what exactly an Islamic bathroom is. I've heard them spoken of in another in a newspaper before a few months ago. We need to see exactly what one is. I think it is what they're putting in Camden. And if they are doing it in your borough, if this is going on up and down the country, we need to know and to coordinate resistance, because otherwise, in the future, we might find it very difficult to get council housing. You know, this could be the new way of rubbing our noses in it. Do you remember Andrew Neither, an ex-Labour Party worker, talking about New Labour and Tony Blair and Gordon Brown wanting to rub the noses of the right in immigration? Maybe this is their new way of doing it. They've had, you know, maybe this is a continuation of old Labour's project to force immigration down our throats. You know, if it is, then what we have is a simple matter of some powers that be's efforts to Islamify us and just literally to rob our entire country from us, and possibly to rob other countries of Europe and just destroy Europe, basically, and destroy every white person's homeland. Maybe they'd like to do it to the whole world. I think they're globalists, really, who just want to make a lot of money off everyone. And this is one way of doing it, getting cheap labor in and forcing us all into just poverty and death even, maybe because we thought we had rights. Maybe we're not good enough for rights or something. Why do they prefer Islam? Maybe they like Islam because it is so controlling of people. Maybe really they would like it if we did end up getting our heads cut off and our hands cut off and ended up terrorized and submissive. Maybe this is what they're trying to do to us. It looks like it. So wherever you are in England, where are you? Please write in the comments section where you are and whether or not you think the bathrooms that you're getting are Islamic bathrooms. We need to know, because we've got to organize some kind of resistance. This is terrible. Thanks.